There is a widespread belief that schooling is meant to enlighten, yet some have observed that it can instead confine and control. From the earliest memories, there are constant signals that life has been guided by someone else's blueprint. Even before a person speaks complete sentences, a web of social influences begins shaping dreams, aspirations, and fears. Parents pass along the system's views not necessarily out of malice, but because they themselves were molded in the same way. Education, media, food industries, and language all intertwine to maintain a structure of compliance. It is a structure so deftly woven that most never recognize its grip. Some people feel an inner restlessness, an awareness that something is off, that life is not as free as it seems. Recognizing this can be the start of breaking invisible chains. The schooling process is often seen as the cornerstone. Some assume it exists to impart knowledge, develop curiosity, and nurture autonomy. However, from the first day in a classroom, children learn about deference to authority, fixed schedules, and the necessity of fitting in. They are graded, timed, and measured, taught that good behavior equals success. It is not just about reading and math, but also about internalizing obedience. Every bell that rings is a subtle reinforcement of submission. When the bell sounds, everyone must move, no questions asked. This conditioning may continue for years until it seems natural to line up, turn in assignments on the dot, and prioritize the teacher's approval over self-discovery. History books are not exempt. Some recount heroic conquests, ignoring stolen lands and the silenced voices of people who stood in opposition. This is deliberate. A version of events is promoted that celebrates those in power. Many who dared to challenge ruling structures slip into footnotes or vanish entirely. Science lessons can likewise become a script of memorized facts rather than an invitation to experiment and ask deeper questions. Literature may focus on tales that reinforce following social norms. Even math, which could be a field of creative problem-solving, often gets reduced to worksheets that frame one correct answer and little room to challenge assumptions. The system's deeper objective is control, not empowerment. This pattern feeds into adult life. Most are nudged to take loans for higher education. Debt fastens them securely to the larger financial system, ensuring that genuine independence becomes elusive. The parallels to prisons are not accidental. Both schools and prisons rely on rigid schedules, external supervision, and established power hierarchies. Both receive funding tied to population numbers. Students or inmates, the underlying principle remains the same. Keep those inside following the script, and maintain a profitable, predictable flow of bodies through the system. Yet schooling is merely one facet. Media extends the programming in subtler ways. From earliest childhood, bright cartoons appear harmless. They model heroes who follow the rules and villains who question them. By repeatedly seeing rebellious figures cast as destructive or threatening, viewers learn to dismiss rebellion as an undesirable path. Meanwhile, the triumphant protagonists rarely seek to overturn the established order. Instead, they defend it, signaling that true virtue lies in protecting existing power structures. This narrative seeps in before children can read, shaping how they interpret authority. When they grow older, the same formula migrates to action films, streaming shows, and widespread media. A rebel might appear occasionally, but is usually a cautionary tale or a threat to be neutralized. Companies know how to capitalize on these narratives. Fast food restaurants woo children by merging cartoon characters with menu items full of addictive sugar, fat, and salt. From the start, youngsters learn that joy is found in a branded box, a new toy, a portion of fries, and a fun design. It teaches the notion that consumption leads to happiness. Over time, that pattern weaves itself into adult behavior, feeling down or disconnected, a quick run to a favorite chain. The emotional tether was fastened years ago, often before individuals had the awareness to question its origin. Culture, shaped over centuries, might seem authentic on the surface, festivals, holidays, and beloved traditions, but some sense that entire celebrations have been commercialized or re-engineered to benefit industries. Holiday after holiday, consumerism intensifies. Children associate gifts and decorations with love or moral worthiness. Soon, the meaning behind these events becomes secondary. Retailers bank on them as guaranteed windfalls. The underlying message remains consistent. Spend money, fit in, measure personal success by how closely one can align with the cultural blueprint. The deviance from older ways is startling. A spiritual season can devolve into a marathon of shopping and social pressure, far removed from the original essence. Language itself becomes a means of policing behavior. Seemingly innocent phrases, repeated since youth, discourage critical reflection. That's just the way it is. Don't rock the boat. Be a good boy or girl. One might never see the invisible net these statements create, each one normalizing the idea that authority must be obeyed and that acceptance in a group requires conformity. In adulthood, updated corporate jargon like team player or follow standard protocols continues the pattern. Anyone who persistently questions the norm risks social or professional repercussions. Polite society often frowns on individuals who challenge customary views or rules. That frown, that disapproval, is part of the subtle mechanism that keeps everyone in line. Rituals fortify these conventions. A child reciting a pledge every morning may have little idea what the words signify, but recitation becomes muscle memory, forging loyalty that may go unquestioned. Similarly, some public events incorporate group chants or repeated slogans that unify the crowd in a shared identity. The majority who stands and repeats the words rarely contemplates the deeper significance. The feeling of belonging and routine overshadows any impulse to investigate the ritual's origin. This deep programming cultivates fear of failure. Some interpret mistakes as punishments, not learning opportunities. From tests at school to performance reviews at work, the emphasis on avoiding errors can stifle creativity. Over time, the mind equates stepping out of bounds with imminent disaster. This is a potent method of control. Most will self-police, steering away from the path of authentic exploration or risk-taking, because they have been conditioned to connect mistakes with shame or ostracism. Such anxieties frequently lead people to chase external validation. A pursuit of perfect grades morphs into the adult chase for job titles, social media followers, or superficial measures of success. The system thrives on the constant quest for approval because it keeps individuals tethered to external metrics. When self-worth hinges on how others view or reward an individual, fear of stepping out of line grows. Meanwhile, advertisers ride this wave of insecurity, promising that a particular product, subscription, or lifestyle choice can deliver confidence. Deep down, emptiness persists, ensuring a steady flow of future consumers. Some might say this is an exaggeration, yet others sense that the puzzle pieces fit too well. The school teaches compliance, the media normalizes it, consumerism rewards it, and cultural rituals reinforce it. The feeling that this is just how life works prevails. A few break out, though. They start to wonder, why does a piece of paper with a certain grade define intelligence? Or who decided that buying more things equals success? Or why do holidays feel so hollow when they revolve around maximum spending? Once that line of questioning begins, the entire structure starts to look less natural and more contrived. Escaping this gridlock does not happen overnight. The conditioning has been ingrained for so long that unraveling it takes deliberate effort. Some find help by limiting their exposure to highly manipulative content and seeking community with others who question mainstream narratives. In these groups, there can be genuine discussions about alternative ways of living, learning, and working. There might also be experiments in simpler living, focusing on local and independent businesses, rather than the giant chains that perpetuate the cycle of addictive consumerism. Others take an interest in older forms of wisdom, including certain teachings found in some Hindu practices that emphasize mindful thinking or introspection. For many, such paths can serve as a refreshing way to reconnect to values not dictated by mass media. An important part of reclaiming freedom is recognizing triggers planted by the system. The subconscious has been taught to jump at fear-based messages. Marketers and political figures have known for generations that fear is a powerful driver. Whether it is fear of missing out, fear of social rejection, or fear of financial ruin, the reaction often prompts compliance. Realizing how these triggers operate is step one in dismantling them. Step two is choosing responses that align with genuine priorities instead of automatic instincts. Authentic happiness, from the perspective of those who see through the facade, lies in living on one's own terms. This can mean finding work that sparks creativity rather than chasing job titles solely for status. It can mean celebrating holidays in a way that fosters genuine connection setting aside the commercial mania. It could also mean letting children learn in more open-ended environments where curiosity is the guide, instead of forcing them to memorize and conform. None of this is to say that all structure is bad. Some structure in society offers safety and predictability. The question is who sets that structure and why? If the motive is to keep large systems running smoothly at the expense of human growth and independence, that is a problem. Once people begin to see the patterns, they can reclaim their power and shape a life that resonates with their real desires instead of those imposed from the outside. By connecting with others and cultivating shared goals, they can also inspire broader change, though it is not easy. Systems this deeply rooted do not topple quickly, but every act of personal empowerment chips away at their foundation. Some hold out hope that a more conscious way of living can spread, building communities that value collaboration over profit and curiosity over unquestioning acceptance. Such a shift would require vigilance. The old programming is pervasive, and it is tempting to slip back into comfortable routines. Yet every small choice, such as questioning a certain cultural tradition or noticing the manipulative hooks in an advertisement, builds momentum. Conversations that prompt reflection can happen around a kitchen table or online, making the cracks in the system wider with each shared insight. In the end, it becomes clear that genuine freedom involves awareness. Life does not need to be lived as a series of obligations or a script someone else wrote. Education can become about exploration. Media can inspire rather than control. And culture can celebrate individuality instead of demanding that everyone act the same. Language can be used to uplift rather than silence. Food can be a source of nourishment and celebration, not a lifelong unhealthy habit sold as convenience or nostalgia. True growth emerges when individuals discern the difference between structures designed to protect well-being and structures designed to perpetuate conformity. Although the old system may resist change, growing numbers of people are peeking behind the curtain, choosing authenticity over submission. This shift begins as an internal transformation, then grows outward into families, neighborhoods, and possibly entire societies. The realization that the cage was partly in the mind all along opens the door to rewriting the life story.